Tom was not like the others on the planet Velora. He was human, the only human living among the tall, graceful alien race known as the Valeri. They had blue skin that shimmered in sunlight and moved like dancers in the wind. They spoke in soft tones and valued peace, wisdom, and Balancem had come to Velora by accident years ago. His small research ship had crash-landed near one of their ancient forests. Instead of hurting him or turning him away, the Valeri had saved him. They healed his broken bones, shared their food, and gave him a place to live in their floating city above the trees. Over time, he became part of their world. One of his closest friends was a young Valeri girl named Alari. She was the daughter of a great warrior who had disappeared during a mysterious battle many years ago. Alari was curious, brave, and loved to explore ruins and old relics from the past. She often invited Tom to join her, and together they laughed, learned, and discovered forgotten places hidden in the jungle. One evening, Alari called him over to her home. Her house was shaped like a tall crystal tower surrounded by glowing vines and soft lights. The air smelled sweet, and the sky was turning a soft purple as the sun dipped below the horizon. "I found something," she said with a grin as Tom walked in. "You won't believe what it is." He smiled, wiping dust from his boots. "Let me guess. Another broken pot from the ancient times." "Better," she said, taking his hand and pulling him toward a side room. "My father's armor. It's still here. I cleaned it today." Tom followed her into the chamber. It was quiet inside, and the walls were lined with stone carvings and golden lamps. In the center of the room stood a platform, hovering above. It was a full set of armor. Silver plates floated in the air, held in place by some kind of energy field. Strange symbols glowed softly on its surface. It looked both ancient and advanced. Tom's eyes widened. "That's real? I thought the stories were just stories." Alari walked around the platform. "No. This was the armor my father wore when he protected our city. No one has touched it since he vanished, but I think it's safe. It doesn't respond to anyone anymore. It's just quiet." Tom walked closer. He looked at the chest plate, the tall boots, the strange helmet shaped like a crown. "It looks heavy." Alari laughed. "You should try it on." He raised an eyebrow. "What? Just for fun? Role play, like we're kids again," she said. "I'll pretend to be the wise leader, and you'll be the brave warrior who saves the stars. Come on, it'll be fun." Tom looked at her, then at the armor. "Are you sure it's safe?" She nodded. "Completely. I've scanned it. No energy, no danger. It's just metal now. Nothing more." Tom stepped onto the platform. The armor pieces floated slightly away from him as if watching. Slowly, he reached out and touched the chest plate. It was warm, not cold like metal should be. Before he could say anything, the chest plate moved forward and locked itself to his chest. The boots flew onto his feet, the gloves wrapped around his hands. The shoulder guard snapped into place. Alari stepped back. "Wait, that's not supposed to happen." Tom looked down. The armor was glowing, not bright, but steady, a gentle blue light moved across its surface like waves on water. He felt a strange pulse in his chest, like a heartbeat that wasn't his. The room became silent. Even the lamps dimmed as the armor's energy filled the space. "Alari," he said quietly, "I think it's doing something." "I see that," she whispered. "It's alive again." "But that's not possible. Only a Valeri of royal blood can activate it." "You're not." The armor's helmet floated up and slowly lowered itself onto Tom's head. As it touched him, his vision blurred for a moment. Then everything became clear. He could hear the wind outside, the sound of a bird flying past the tower, even the distant waterfall in the valley below. "Alari," he said, "I can hear everything." She stared at him, her mouth open. "It chose you. The armor chose you." "I didn't mean to," he began, but she shook her head. "No. This changes everything." The runes on the armor brightened. A deep hum filled the room. Tom could feel energy flowing through his veins. He moved his hand, and a ripple of light followed. He stepped forward, and the air seemed to part before him. "Alari, what is this armor?" He sketched walked around him, eyes wide. "My father said it was more than just protection. He said it had a mind, that it waits for someone it can bond with, but it never woke for anyone." not even the elders, and now it wakes. For you, Tom removed the helmet slowly. I don't want to hurt anyone. I was just playing, I know. She said, that's why I chose you. It senses heart, not strength. But now, others will notice. If the armor is alive again, the world will feel it. He looked out the window. In the distance, the jungle shimmered under the setting sun. He did not understand what was happening, but something inside him whispered that this was only the beginning and the armor. It was no longer silent. Tide was waiting. The next morning, Tom sat alone on a stone ledge outside Alari's tower. He watched the jungle below, still wearing the armor. He had tried to take it off many times during the night, but the pieces would not budge. The silver plates clung to his body like a second skin. Only the helmet had released itself. Raised his hand again and watched a soft wave of light travel across his arm. When he focused, he could hear every insect in the leaves below. He could hear the water flow deep in the roots of the jungle. The world felt louder, but not in a painful way. It felt alive. Alari stepped outside holding a tray with fruit and tea. Still stuck, Tom gave a half smile. It won't come off. It's like it knows I'm trying. And it says no. She sat beside him and placed the tray between them. I told the elders last night. They want to see you today. You should be ready for questions. A lot of them. Do they think I stole it? No. But they will wonder why it chose you. No one has been able to wake the armor since my father disappeared. Even the High Guardians tried, and it stayed cold for all of them. Tom took a bite of the fruit. It tasted sharper than usual, like his senses were stronger. I didn't do anything special. I was just playing along. You said it was safe. I thought it was, Alari said softly. But I was wrong. The armor was never just a relic. It was waiting, and now it has chosen a human. Tom leaned back. I'm not ready for this. I came here to study plants, not fight in armor made by space warriors. Alari looked at him. Maybe you were never just a visitor. Maybe Velora was part of your path from the beginning. The armor doesn't care about bloodlines. It responds to heart. And it saw something in you before Tom could answer. A loud chime echoed from the tower above. A message light blinked in the sky. Alari stood quickly. That's from the Grand Hall. The council is ready for us. They walked together toward the center of the city. The floating bridges and crystal towers shimmered in the morning light. Valeri's citizens watched them pass. Whispers followed Tom's every step. No one had seen the armor active in many years, and now it moved like it had been made for him. At the Grand Hall, 5 elders waited on tall thrones. Their robes flowed like mist, and their eyes glowed softly. One of them stepped forward, a wise old Valeri named Valen. Human Tom, Valen said, do you know what you carry? Tom bowed slightly. No, elder. I only wore the armor because Alari suggested it. I meant no harm. You have awakened something lost for centuries, Valen said. That armor was forged by our ancestors and bound to the energy of the stars. It was meant for a guardian who would bring balance to worlds. And now it has chosen you. I didn't ask for this, Tom said. I don't even know what it can do. Another elder, Mara, stepped down from her seat. It will teach you. But you must listen. The armor has a memory. It holds echoes of the past. If you open yourself to it, it may show you why it returned to life. Tom felt the armor shift slightly, like it heard the words. A gentle hum filled the hall. The light on his chest plate grew brighter. and raised his hand. We will begin tests. We must understand the bond. Until then, you are under our watch, not as a prisoner, but as someone important. Someone the armor trusts. Alari stepped forward. He's not alone in this. I'll help him. I know more about the ruins and history than most scholars here. Valen nodded. Very well. Let the test begin tomorrow. Today, let the armor rest. With its new bearers, they left the hall. Tom glanced at Alari. Tests? What kind of tests? Mostly safe, she said with a smile. Well, maybe a few small shocks. Nothing serious. You'll be fine. Tom shook his head. I should have just stayed in bed that night. Tom sat by a quiet pool near the tower. Moonlight danced on the water, and the armor glowed gently in rhythm with his breath. He closed his eyes. The world faded away, and then he heard something whisper, not in his ears, but in his mind. You are the bridge, Tom opened his eyes. Who said that? The voice spoke again. You carry more than metal. You carry choice. You carry balance. Images flashed in his head. Stars burning. Planets torn by war. A great warrior standing alone in the sky, holding back a wave of darkness. And then, a child watching from a tower. Ilari, younger, afraid him, gasped and stood up. The armor hummed louder now. It was showing him memories. Not his, but someone else's. Someone who wore the armor before Ilari. He whispered, ran back to the tower, and found her reading a scroll. She looked up as he entered. I saw something, Tom said. In my head, your father. I think. He spoke to me through the armor. Ilari's eyes widened. You saw him? Tom nodded. He was fighting something huge. And then it all went dark. She stepped closer. This is bigger than we thought. If the armor holds his memories, then you are more than a wearer. You're a link to him. To the past we lost. Tom looked down at the armor. It was still glowing, still pulsing with life. I think this is only the beginning, he said. Ilari nodded. Then we better get ready. Tom stood on the practice grounds near the edge of the city. Crystal towers rose behind him. The jungle stretched out in every direction beyond the floating platforms. The morning air was cool and filled with soft light. Ilari stood beside him, holding a small tablet with test instructions. Across from them was a Valeri guardian named Roan. He was strong, calm, and trained in combat. Since you tried to move that stone, Ilari said, pointing to a large rock sitting in the middle of the training field. Tom looked at the stone. It was as wide as a table and heavy like a mountain. He took a breath and raised his hand. Nothing happened. The armor was quiet. He tried again, this time focusing like he did near the pool the night before. A light flickered on his palm. The air shifted. The rock shook slightly, then rolled forward a few inches. Rowan nodded. That was a start. Tom sighed. It feels like trying to lift a planet with a feather. Ilari smiled. The armor responds to thought, not force. You have to trust it. Let it move with you. He closed his eyes. This time he imagined the stone is weightless. He pictured the world around it moving gently. His hand lifted slowly. The rock rose into the air, spinning slowly above the ground. Ilari stepped back in surprise. You're doing it. Tom opened his eyes. The rock floated before him, steady and glowing with soft light. He moved his hand, and the rock followed like it was tied to invisible strings. Then he lowered his hand and let it land back on the ground without a sound. Drone walked closer. That armor is far more than protection. It channels energy from the core of Velora. You are connected to it now. Your mind controls what it becomes. Tom looked at his hands. I felt something like a current inside me, like I was part of the world, not just standing on it. Ilari walked beside him. It's not just the armor, Tom. You are changing. The armor is not forcing you. It's revealing something that was already inside you. Maybe that's why it chose you before they could speak more. A message light flickered in the sky. A silver orb floated down and opened. Valen's voice came from inside. We have detected a signal from beyond the jungle. Something old. Something dangerous. The council requests the Starborn's presence. Tom and Ilari exchanged a quick glance. They followed the orb toward the outer edge of the city. There, inside a glowing chamber, the elders waited. A map hovered in the air, showing a dark zone deep in the jungle. This area was once a sealed vault. Valen explained. It held remains of the war we lost long ago. Your presence, Tom, has awakened more than just the armor. We believe your energy woke the vault as well. Mara pointed to a flashing symbol. The seal has broken. The energy inside is unstable. We fear the return of something our world was not ready to face again. Tom felt the armor pulse. Softly, it was listening. What do you want me to do? He asked. Evelyn stepped forward. We want you to go there. Not to fight, to observe, to learn. The armor will protect you. But be careful. The vault may hold knowledge or danger, or both. Ilari stepped in. I'm going with him. Mara nodded. So be it. The journey begins at dawn the next morning. Tom and Ilari flew in a small skimmer above the jungle canopy. The vault was hidden beneath thick vines and stone walls covered in moss. They landed beside a broken stairway and stepped into darkness. The armor's light guided their path inside the vault. The air was heavy. The walls were covered in carvings, strange shapes, broken machines, and cracked crystals filled the halls. Tom touched one of the carvings. It showed a warrior in the same armor he now wore, standing against a creature made of shadows, and Firelary read the symbols. This tells of the Great Sealing. A creature that almost destroyed Valora was locked here by the first bearer of the armor. That bearer was my father. Tom felt the energy shift. The armor grew warm. A voice echoed in his mind against shadow. Stirs. The past is not buried. It waits to return. Suddenly the chamber shook. A crack opened in the floor. Dark smoke rose from below. A shape moved in the shadows. Glowing red eyes opened. Elari grabbed Tom's arm. We need to leave, but the armor moved on its own. It stepped forward. Tom's body followed without thinking. Light burst from his chest, forming a shield around them. The shadow creature lunged. The shield held firm. Tom raised his hand. Light exploded from his palm and pushed the shadow back. The creature screamed and vanished into the smoke. Ran out of the vault as the walls began to collapse. The skimmer lifted them just in time as the jungle swallowed the ruins again. Back at the city, the elders waited. Tom stepped forward and told them everything. The vault was breaking. The creature inside was still alive, and it was watching. Valen spoke in a heavy voice. Then the legends were true. The seal is weakening. The armor chose you not by accident, but by design. The danger has returned, and now, so has the Starburn. Alari looked at Tom. You fought the shadow today, not with hate, but with light. That's what the armor needs, a heart that protects. Tom nodded. I don't know what's coming next, but I'll face it. With you beside me, the city bells rang in the distance. Something was changing in the world, and the armor pulsed again, ready for the next chapter. The city of Valora stood quiet under a dark sky. Thick clouds covered the stars. The jungle winds moved slower than usual. Birds stayed hidden. Even the glowing flowers across the floating bridges had dimmed their light. Stood before the council hall. The silver armor on his body pulsed like a living heart. Since returning from the vault, the energy inside it had grown stronger. It no longer felt like something worn. It felt like a part of him. Alari stood beside him. Her face calm, but her eyes sharp. She knew what this day meant. So did everyone. In the city, word had spread about the shadow creature in the vault. The seal had broken. The past was no longer just history. It was rising again. Valen stepped out from the hall and faced Tom. His robe moved gently in the wind. The time has come, Valen said. The trial of fire waits. Tom took a slow breath. What is it? Mara joined the elder. It is the final test once taken by the first wearers of the armor. It reveals what the bearer truly is. Mind, heart, and spirit must all be balanced. If you pass, the armor will fully awaken. If you fail, it will turn silent again. Tom looked down at the glowing runes on his arms. He remembered the vault, the whispers, the creature's eyes. This armor had chosen him, but it had not yet accepted him completely. I'll do it, Tom said, if this is what it takes. Then I'm ready. Alari touched his shoulder. You're not alone. I'll be waiting for you when it's over. Tom nodded. Then followed the elders through the wide crystal gates of the trial grounds. We're deep inside a hollow mountain. Carved stairs led down into darkness. The air was warm and dry. As Tom stepped through the final arch, a wall of flames lit up before him. But the fire did not burn. It moved in slow shapes, forming symbols that floated in the air. Valen stopped and turned to Tom. Beyond this fire is the chamber of reflection. No one can enter with you, not even the armor's past users. You will face yourself. If your soul is steady, the armor will become your true partner. If not, it will break the bond. Tom stepped forward. The fire parted for him. The light wrapped around his body like wind, and then he was gone inside the chamber. The walls were made of dark stone and strange light. There were no doors, no sound, only silence. A single torch burned in the center, casting long shadows across the floor. Tom walked toward the flame. As he reached out his hand, the shadows moved. A figure stepped from the darkness. It looked like him. Same face, same armor, same voice, but its eyes were cold. Who are you? Tom asked. I am the doubt inside you. The figure replied. The fear you hide. You wear this armor. But you are still just a visitor. You do not belong. Tom stepped back. I didn't ask for this, but I'm trying to help. You want to be special, the shadow said. You want to be the hero in a world that is not yours, but you will fail, and when you fall, so will they. Tom clenched his fists. The armor's glow flickered. The doubt was real. He had wondered the same things. Why him? Why now? The shadow rushed forward. They clashed, not with swords, but with force and light. Waves of energy burst across the chamber. Tom was pushed back again and again. The shadow moved faster than him, stronger, sharper. You are not enough. It saved him. Fell to one knee. The armor grew heavy. He could feel the weight of his fear. He remembered the crash that brought him to Velora, the nights he felt alone, the moments he thought of leaving, but then he thought of Alari, her laughter, her bravery. The way she believed in him when he didn't believe in himself. Stood up again. I'm not perfect, Tom said. I make mistakes, but I don't run. I stay. I learn. And I protect. The shadow paused. A crack formed on his chest. Light poured out. I may be human, Tom continued, but that doesn't make me weak. It makes me different, and maybe that's what this armor needed. Not someone flawless, but someone who keeps trying. The armor flared with blue light. The chamber shook. The shadow broke apart and vanished into the flame. Slants returned. Then a voice filled the chamber. Not loud, not soft, but clear. You a radiant beam of pure light came down from above. It wrapped around Tom. The armor shifted. The plates moved and reformed. New lines glowed on his arms and chest. Wings of energy stretched from his back for a brief moment, then folded away. Tom felt the change inside. The armor was no longer something worn. It was now bonded with his soul. It moved with his thoughts. It pulsed with his will. He turned and walked back through the fire. The trial was complete. Outside the mountain, Alari stood waiting. When Tom appeared, her eyes widened. The armor had changed. It was brighter, sharper, alive. You passed, she said with a smile. Tom nodded. It accepted me. It showed me who I was and who I could become. Valen stepped forward. The Starborn is no longer a title. It is your path. The armor has chosen you fully. Now, you must prepare. The shadow you saw in the vault is not finished. It will return. And when it does, we will need the Guardian to stand once more. Tom looked to the sky. The dark clouds still moved slowly, hiding the stars. But he no longer feared them. Had passed the trial of fire and the armor was ready. The sky above Velora turned a deep orange as the sun began to set behind the mountains. The city lights flickered to life one by one. Floating towers glowed gently over the treetops. But beneath the calm surface, the people of Velora were preparing. For Ward's shadow creature from the vault had not stayed hidden. Scouts had spotted strange signs in the forest, trees bent in the wrong direction, animals fleeing toward the cities, dark smoke rising without fire. The elders believed the creature was rebuilding its strength. It would come again soon. And this time, it would not hit. Tom stood at the edge of the city, looking out at the jungle below. The wind moved through the leaves, carrying a strange scent in the air. His armor now felt like a second skin. It no longer hummed with confusion. It pulsed with calm power. The symbols on the surface glowed in steady rhythm. With his breath, Larry walked up beside him. She had her own gear ready. It was lighter than armor, made for speed and focus. Her eyes were sharp. She carried a staff built from crystal and wood. Passed down from her mother's line. The council has chosen to fight, she said. The city walls will be shielded. The outer platforms will be cleared. Guardians are already taking positions in the skies. Tom nodded. They still don't know what we're facing. No, she replied. But they believe in you. They call you the Guardian of Light now. Not just the Starborn. Tom looked down. I don't feel like a hero. I feel like someone holding something bigger than he understands. Elari placed a hand on his arm. You're not meant to understand everything. You're meant to stand when others can't. That's enough. As night fell, the first wave came at arc. Shapes moved through the jungle like shadows made real. They climbed the trees and flew through the wind. Their forms were twisted. Not alive, but not lifeless either. They were made from the same energy that filled the vault, black and red. Pulsing with Hitiv, guardians of Velora stood ready. Crystal shields covered the outer bridges. towers launched beams of light into the sky, the air filled with the sound of movement, orders, and silent prayers. Tom flew above the city, supported by the armor's energy wings. His eyes glowed with soft blue light from above. He could see the darkness spreading across the ground like a slow-moving storm raised. His hand, a wave of energy, blasted outward, forming a glowing wall that blocked the first shadow beast from reaching the lower bridges. The creatures screamed, but the sound faded quickly. Alari moved between the towers, guiding the younger defenders. Her staff flashed with blue sparks as she marked danger zones and signaled changes in formation. She fought like her father once, did clever, fast, and for less. The battle grew louder. The sky lit up with flashes of color. The armor responded to Tom's thoughts. He no longer had to think about where to strike or how to move. The armor knew. It moved with him. When he flew, the air parted. When he landed, the ground shimmered beneath his feet. One of the larger creatures leaped from a floating bridge and flew toward the heart of the city. It was 3 times the size of the others. Its mouth opened in a silent scream. Its wings were made of dark mist and raced after it. He pushed forward with all his strength. The armor pulled power from the stars above and the ground below. Just before the creature reached the main tower, Tom struck. A beam of white light shot from his hands. It hit the creature in the chest and tore through it. The shadow burst into pieces and faded into the wind. People of Valora watched in silence. Then cheers rose from the platforms. For the first time in many years, they had seen a guardian in full power. They had seen a starborn protect them, but the battle was not over. Far in the distance, the sky cracked. A dark circle opened above the jungle. Lightning moved inside it. A shape slowly appeared. It was not like the other creatures. It was larger, older, and colder. The true shadow. The one sealed long ago. Alari ran up the stairs of the high tower to reach Tom. It's him, she said. The creature from your vision, the one my father fought. The one sealed in the vault. Tom looked at the growing shadow in the sky. Then this is the moment. He flew higher, past the towers, into the sky where stars met clouds. The armor responded to his call. Wings of blue light spread wide. The voice of the armor echoed in his mind. This is the one who broke the peace. This is the one we were built to stop. The shadow creature launched a blast of dark energy toward the city. Tom raised both hands. A glowing barrier formed round Valora, absorbing the attack. He pushed forward, cutting through the stormed sky. Shook. Thunder cracked across the valley. Tom faced the shadow in the air. The creature reached for him with long, black arms, but Tom did not step back. He flew straight toward the heart of the darkness with a cry from his soul. He unleashed the full power of the armor. Light poured from every part of him. The runes burned bright. The darkness screamed. The energy wave pushed through the shadow. It broke apart, scattered like ash in the windslands. Followed. The storm faded. The circle in the sky closed. The stars returned and floated above the city, glowing like a flame in the night. The armor cooled slowly, still shining. Landed gently on the main platform. Alari rushed to meet him. The people of Valor gathered around. No one spoke for a long time. They didn't need to. They had seen the fall of the darkness. They had seen a guardian rise. Tom looked around and spoke in a calm voice. We are safe for now, but this world is still waking. There may be more out there. I will not leave. I will stand with you. Valen stepped forward. You are more than a visitor now. You are one of us. A guardian of Valora. A symbol to all who watched from beyond the stars. Alari smiled. You didn't just wear the armor. You became what it was waiting for. Tom looked at the sky. Somewhere out there, danger still waited. But now, he was red-eyed. The armor had not made him a god. It had reminded him of something greater. Was human, and that was enough. After the battle, the city of Valora breathed a sigh of relief. The dark shadows had been pushed back, and the skies cleared once more. But Tom knew the fight was far from over. The armor on his body still glowed softly, like a heartbeat in the quiet night. It was a constant reminder of the power he carried and the secrets it still held. Alari met him at the entrance to the ancient library. The building was vast, filled with towering shelves carved from crystal and stone. Light shimmered on the walls, revealing symbols and stories from a time long forgotten. This place held the history of the Valeri and perhaps the answers Tom need to know more about the armor, Alari said as they stepped inside. About why it chose you. About my father. The council has opened the archives for us, Tom nodded. He felt the weight of the armor, but also the weight of responsibility. I want to understand. I want to be ready for whatever comes next together. They walked through rows of glowing books and scrolls. The air smelled of old paper and magic. Alari pulled down a large tome titled Guardians of the Stars. Dust fell softly as she opened it. The pages showed paintings of warriors wearing armor like Tom's, fighting great beasts and guarding worlds from darkness. Zone painting caught Tom's eye. It showed a human standing beside a Valeri warrior. Both wore shining armor. Their hands joined as light flowed between them and Alari. Tom said, "Look at this." Humans and Valeri fought together when she studied the image closely. I've heard stories. Long ago, our races were allies. We shared knowledge, strength, and hope. But something happened. We grew apart. The wars returned. The alliance broke. Tom traced the runes on the page. This armor was made during that time, wasn't it? Alari nodded. Yes, it was forged as a symbol of unity, to protect both our people. Your presence in the armor is not a mistake. It is destiny. Suddenly, the ground trembled. The walls shook softly. The ancient library's crystals flickered, casting moving shadows on the floor. A hidden door slid open behind them, revealing a dark passage. Alari grabbed Tom's arm. That wasn't an earthquake. Something is waking beneath us. They stepped carefully into the passage. The air grew colder. Strange symbols glowed faintly on the walls. Deeper inside, they found a chamber filled with old machinery, covered in vines and dust. In the center stood a pedestal, glowing with the same energy as Tom's armor. As Tom approached, the armor hummed louder. Lights on the pedestal matched those on his chest plate. A soft voice echoed in his mind, bearer of balance. You have awakened the memory of the past. You must learn the truth. Larry looked at him with wide eyes. This place. It is a vault of knowledge. Your father's armor was not just a weapon. It was a key. Tom reached out and touched the pedestal. Suddenly, visions filled his mind. He saw the first bearer of the armor, an ancient warrior named Kalen, and a human scientist named Mira. Together, they had forged the armor from a star's core and bound it with the energy of the universe. They saw battles fought across galaxies, alliances made and broken, sacrifices given for peace. He saw the armor passing from hand to hand, waiting for the right bearer who could unite worlds again. Visions ended with Kalen standing before a great shadow, locking it away deep beneath Velora. Then Mira looked up at a child, Alari's father, and handed him the armor, trusting the future to come. Gasped. Your father was part of this. He was chosen to carry the hope of two races. Alari's voice shook. He disappeared after the sealing. We thought he was lost forever. Tom looked at the glowing runes on his arms. The armor chose me because I am the bridge between those worlds. The alliance is not dead. It is waiting to be reborn. The chamber began to close. Light faded. They hurried back to the library as the passage sealed behind them. Outside, the night sky was filled with stars. Tom felt a calm settle over him. The armor was no longer just a tool. It was a symbol of unity, hope, and a new beginning. Larry smiled softly. We have much to do. The past is waking, and the future depends on you. As Tom nodded. Then let's be ready. The sun rose slowly over Velora, painting the sky in soft pink and gold. The city was alive with hope and quiet energy after the recent battles and discoveries. The people were ready for a new beginning. The darkness had been pushed back, but the future was still uncertain. Tim stood on a high balcony overlooking the city. The silver armor gleamed in the morning light. It no longer felt heavy. It felt like a part of him. He breathed deeply and felt calm. The voice of the armor was quiet now, like a friend waiting. Patty and Lowry joined him, carrying a small crystal orb. We have a message from the outer colonies, she said. They want to rebuild the alliance your armor was made for. They heard what happened here. Tom smiled softly. The past is waking, but this time it is ready to change. Together, they walked to the council hall. Inside, the elders and many leaders from Velora and neighboring worlds had gathered. The room buzzed with excitement and nervous energy after years of isolation. In fear, the first steps toward peace were being Matavan stood and raised his hand for silence. Today, we witness a new chapter in our history. The armor chose a human, a symbol of unity between races. This union brings us strength and hope. Tom stepped forward. I'm honored to wear this armor, but I'm only one part of a greater whole. The future belongs to all who seek peace and courage. Together, we can rebuild what was lost. Elari stood beside him. My father believed in unity, in the power of two races working as one. We must carry that belief forward, not as strangers, but as friends. The council members nodded, and the hall filled with applause. Plans were made to share knowledge, build new defenses, and explore the stars together. Velora would no longer stand alone. Days turned into weeks. Tom trained with new warriors. Learning more about the armor and his own limits, he and Elari studied the archives, uncovering ancient secrets and technologies that could help their worlds thrive. On evening, Tom sat beside a quiet lake. The water reflected the stars above. The armor shimmered softly in the moonlight. Elari sat next to him, her eyes filled with hope. Do you ever wonder what comes next? She asked him, smiled. I think the hardest part is over. Now, we build. Now, we create a future worth fighting for. Elari nodded. With you leading, I believe we can. As they looked up, a shooting star crossed the sky. Tom made a silent wish, not for power, but for peace. The armor hummed gently, as if agreeing the days ahead would bring challenges, but the people of Velora were ready. The darkness had tested them, but their light was stronger. Tom was no longer just a visitor or a chosen bearer. He was a guardian, a symbol, and a friend. New dawn had arrived.